Hello and welcome to LSL Scripting Lesson 3. So, today we will be discussing sending messages and working with strings. Say, whisper, shout. There are 3 ways to send a message in chat. Say, whisper, and shout. If you type a message in chat, it is the same as using LSL command LL-say. This can be heard 20 meters away. Using a / followed by a positive integer, it is said on that channel. With LL-say, you can use negative channels also, but you can't use negative channels in regular chat. Note the highest positive integer you can use for a chat channel is like 2 billion and something. Not million, billion. And this is the debug channel. Messages sent on this channel appear in the debug window. I never found a good reason to send a message on the debug channel. You can also whisper and shout. Whisper is heard 10 meters away. Shout is heard a whole 100 meters away. To whisper and chat, use /whisper followed by the message. To shout out in chat, use /shout followed by the message. To do this in LSL, use LL whisper and LL shout respectively. You use these the same way you use LL say. You provide a chat channel to send the message on, and you provide the message. So LL say gets the argument of the chat channel and the message. Same with LL whisper and LL shout. LL say is 20 meters away, LL whisper is 10 meters, and LL shout is 100 meters. You can also send messages to specific people. LL owner say sends messages to the owner of the object. Owner must be in the same region. This is useful for sending messages back to the user of the object, and it is also good to use for debugging your object since you will be the only one getting the message. It does not use a channel and cannot send messages to a script. LL Instant Message sends a message to a specific avatar, which goes to a specific person. It uses the avatar's key, also known as their UUID. Every avatar has a unique key /UUID. This key is used to only send a message to that avatar. It is the same as using instant message from an avatar's profile. If that avatar is logged in, they will receive that message. It does not use a chat channel, and cannot send messages to a script. This function, the LL instant message function, causes the script to sleep for 2 seconds. So for 2 seconds, the script can't do anything. In some events, like touch events and collision events, we can get the key of who or what touched or collided with the object by using LL detected key. There are other LSL commands that start with LL detected that can get different info about who touched or collided with the object. Just go into the LSL wiki and go into the alphabetical list of functions and go down to D, and you'll find all the LL detected functions. All right, so you see with instant message, the first argument we gave in LL instant message was LL detected key. This LL detected key then spits out, with the argument 0, it spits out who touched the object. And then it tells whoever touched the object, you touched me. You can also send messages region-wide. LL region say is used to send a message to a script anywhere in the region. You can use any channel but 0. This is by design. So you use LL region say, for example, if you use LL region say on channel 107, it would send the message throughout the entire region to all in region. And since avatars can't see, since avatars can't see the messages sent on channels other than 0, this only really works for communicating to scripts. We also have LL region say 2. This is used to send a message to a script in the region, but it sends a message to a specific script, a specific object. It can use channel 0, so it can also send a message to an avatar. You use the key of the object, avatar, or group you want to send the message to. You cannot use the debug channel with LL region say 2. Messages sent to an avatar on any channel other than 0 using LL region say 2 can be heard by any attachment on the avatar. Next is escaping characters. Like many computer languages, there are symbols in LSL that cannot be directly included in text strings. In this case, the symbols are quote-unquote escaped. So there's 4 different escape codes. If you put \t in a text string, it'll display 4 spaces. If you put \n in a text string, it'll display a new line. \quote will display a quotation mark, and \\/ will display a backslash. So as you can see in our example, we use the text string, I woke up today and said good morning, but we specified that it's supposed to display good morning in quotation marks. Now, if we didn't escape the quotation mark, it would interpret the end of the string being after I woke up today and said space. So the first quotation mark before I doesn't have a slash before it, so it's not as escaped. So it will interpret that as the start of the text string. Then the next quotation mark, the second quotation mark, has a backslash before it. So it interprets that as a character to display. And then the one after good morning has a slash before it. So again, that quotation mark gets interpreted as a character display. not the end of the string. And then the last quotation mark doesn't have a slash before it. So it doesn't get interpreted as a character display. Instead, it gets interpreted as the end of the string. So backslash quote gets interpreted as a character to display, but just the quotation mark without the backslash gets interpreted as either the start of a text string or the end of a text string. Moving on. Now, joining strings. Strings are joined with the plus. So, if we have two variables, right, then if we want those two variables to act as one text string, we'll put a plus between them. And if both those variables are text strings, it'll treat it internally, it'll be treated as one text string. So the plus character doesn't actually change the value of a variable. It just specifies that those two variables are supposed to be put together. So here we have two text strings. We have a text string that says hello world, and we have another text string that has the special character for a new line, followed by how are you. Now we can see that these two text strings are joined together to give us the text string hello world, how are you. So if we wanted to save that to a variable, we would say new string equals str message plus quote backslash n how are you question mark quote. So when working with numbers, plus adds the two numbers together, but when working with string, plus joins the two strings together. It doesn't actually add them. You can't add strings. So another example is, if you look on the note card, LLC, I used one with every, I gave an example with every special character. And you can see what it does. It's the first quote, the quote before web appears as an actual quote. The two backslashes appear as a single backslash. And the quote after folders appears as a backslash quote after folders appears as an actual quote. Alrighty then, moving on. Substrings. So, before we get into this, I just wanted to mention, that there are two other options. So there is also LL email, which can be used to send emails to email addresses and can also be used to send emails to prims, which can be read by scripts. Scripts reading emails is too complicated. I will not go into it. So every object has an email address. And so you can actually send an email to an object. And that object can then, the script inside that object can then read the email. And actually, you can send emails from outside of virtual worlds using a regular email program to an object in world. And you can send emails from the online virtual world out into a regular normal email address. So that's uses regular email. Something else you can do in LSL I think is really cool is you can make an object a web server. You can then interact with the object on the object's web page or website. This is very advanced, but if you are really interested, here's a link. The http:/response page has some great examples of how to do this. I also will eventually have a free object that demonstrates this, but I think this is way beyond the scope of this class. And there's a few other functions that deal with the web server. HTTP response, HTTP request, LL HTTP response, LL HTTP request. There's like 4 of them. Oh, and yeah, and the one that requests the URL, I think it's LL request URL. There's a few of them, but that link should get you started. Okay, so now we're going to go on with substrings. So using LL substring, you count using 0 and positive numbers or negative numbers. You can actually use both. You can actually use you can actually mix and match. You can use a 0 or positive for the first character. I mean, for the to represent the start, and then you can use a negative number to represent the end. Or you can use a 0 or positive number for the start and a 0 or positive number for the end. So the string is counted with positive integers from 0 to length minus 1. So the first character is 0. The second character is 1, so on and so forth. And then the last character is 1 less than the length. So one more time, the first character, so the H, would be a 0. And then the last character is the length, minus 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. O space WORL. The HELLO space WORLD exclamation mark. So there's 12 characters in hello world exclamation mark. So so character 11 would be the exclamation mark. That's because we're counting from 0. Now you could also use negative numbers. So you could use, for the start number, you could use a negative number or a positive number. For the end number, you can use negative or positive. You can mix and match those. So if you want to do it with a negative number or negative numbers, the first character is 0 minus the length. So it would be negative the length. So the length is 12. First character, the size of the string is 12. So the first character is negative 12. And then the last character is negative 1. So you can use either one of those systems, either one of those counting systems. You can use 0 to length minus 1, or you can use 0 minus the length to negative 1. So the last character is negative 1. The character before that is -2. The character before that is -3, and so on and so forth. You can use either way, either method to count. So here you see we have two examples. We have one that we use LL get substring, and the first argument of LL get substring is str message, which says hello world. The first character we're specifying as 0. We could have used -12 there. So it's an option. You can use either one. You could use -12 there, or you could use 0. In this case, it would be -12 because we have 12 characters. So 0 would represent the first character, H, and 4 would represent the O. So it says hello. And then our second example, this time we're using the negative system. So the last character is -1. And then -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then -6 would be the W, the capital W. So that says world exclamation mark. This, the second LLC command. And we wrap it in LLC just so that we can see the results. All right. So it's LLC get substring, and then we have the first argument, which is string message, and then the second argument, which is -6, which is where we start, and then the third argument, the last argument, which is -1, which is where we end. Alrighty then, moving on. Now, what if we want to change the case of something? What if we want to make something all lowercase, or if we want to make it all uppercase? So we can use LL to lower to make a text all lowercase. We could use LL to upper to make a text all uppercase. So if we do LL to lower string message, it's going to return hello world all lowercase exclamation mark. If we use LL to upper string message, it's going to return hello world all uppercase exclamation mark. And then we use LL say just to get it to display that. So move on. Moving on. Okay, and again, LL to upper and LL to lower do not actually change the variable because we're not assigning a value. Okay, now we want to find a string. Now, if we want to find some text inside a string, let's say we don't know what str message says, okay? Now, instead of using str message, we could actually take what the person says and save that into a variable, str message, and use that variable. But let's say we don't know what str message says, okay? We don't know what the contents of str message is. We only know that it's text. So now we want to search for the word world. We want to know if the word world is in that string str message. Now we're pretending like we don't know what str message says, okay? Now, using this first example, I needle equals LL substring index str message world, we're doing a case sensitive search. So case matters. So if we were to search with the word world in all lowercase, it would only find that if it existed in all lowercase in our message. We're doing it with a capital W and a lowercase ORLD. So it's only going to find the word world if it's only going to find it if the W's capital and the ORLD are lowercase. That's the only way it'll be able to find it. If the W's not if it doesn't find the word world with a capital W and a lowercase ORLD, then it doesn't find it. It'll return -1 because that's the code for not finding it for LL substring index. So LL substring index returns -1 if it doesn't find it. Okay, so now what happens if we want to do case insensitive? What happens if we want to search for, we want to search a word. We want to search for a word, but we don't care whether it exists in uppercase or lowercase in the string we're looking in. Now, in this case, what we're doing is what we first have to do is we have to change that first argument so that the string is all the same case. It's all, we have to either make it all uppercase or all lowercase. We have to make it so that all the letters are the same case. Either all the letters are all lowercase or all the letters are all uppercase. That's the only way we can do a search that's not case sensitive. Because the only way we can know what the case of those letters are is by forcing them to be all the same case. So in this case, we're using LL2 lower. So LL2 lower returns our string in all lowercase. So we know every single letter in our string that we're looking in is going to be lowercase. The string that we're looking in, the string that we're looking inside, every letter is lowercase. So what all we have to do is the word that we're looking for, the word that we're looking for has to be in all lowercase also. Because if the word that we're looking for is not in all lowercase, it will be impossible to find. Because remember, there are no uppercase letters. There are no uppercase letters anymore. We made all the letters lowercase. This way, when we search for the word world, we use the word world, spell it in all lowercase, it will find the word world no matter what the case originally was. So even if the word world originally didn't have a lowercase w, originally the word world had a uppercase w, it'll still find it because we forced all the letters to lowercase. That's why what we're looking for has to be spelled in all lowercase. We could, instead, it would do exactly the same thing. If we used LL2 upper and spelt world in all uppercase, that would do exactly the same thing. So you have to either use LL2 lower and spell the word that you're searching for in all lowercase, or use LL2 upper and then spell this word world that you're looking for in all uppercase. So the last lesson, lesson 2, Social was asking about checking to see if a person said a particular word. This is a perfect example of how to do that. So this is a perfect example of how, and we bring up the script file, and we can see in the script file how we use, now we're using an if statement to find out whether that word exists. So in this if statement, So first of all, it takes the string that we're looking in, the haystack. You can think about it as looking for the needle in the haystack. Think about it as looking for the needle in the haystack. So the string that what we're looking in is the haystack. We convert that to all lowercase. We're not actually changing the contents of the variable, remember, but that argument is going to return our string in all lowercase. So now, and the word world, we're careful to type the word world in all lowercase. What we're looking for has to be in all lowercase too, or else it'll never match. So now, in this case, no matter what way the word world was spelled in our original string, this will find it. If the word world was spelled with a capital O and all the rest of the letters lowercase, this will still find it. No matter what case the word world was originally in str message, it'll be found. So if LL substring index returns -1, that means it didn't find it. But we know that str message has the message hello world with a capital W. Remember that capital W is converted to lowercase. So the word world is going to be found in this if statement. Our message is hello world with a capital W and an exclamation point, but it's still going to find the word world because we're doing a search that's not case sensitive. We're using LL to lower to make this a search that's not case sensitive. So does LL substring index, does that return -1? No, it doesn't. It's not equal to -1. So because what LL substring index returns does not equal -1, this if statement is run and it says world was found. So do keep in mind that this word world right here, WORLD, you have to type that in all lowercase. And you have to use LL to lower here. All right, for that if statement. I actually already did this. Just a little note. I actually already did this presentation, and there were some people here, and I forgot to turn on the mic. So, unfortunately, yeah. So I had to re-record this again, over again. All right, for a second time. So, all right, so, and that's it. That's it for LSL Lesson 3. Take care.